Chosen one, listen carefully and allow every word to settle deeply into your spirit. That feeling you have been carrying inside your heart, the longing that continues burning quietly within you. No matter how hard you try to ignore it, stop running from it. The enemy has been working relentlessly this entire week for one reason: only he sees what heaven is preparing to bring together. And he understands he cannot stop it. The isolation is ending. The confusion is ending. The silent questions you have been asking yourself late at night are ending. The thoughts asking whether this person is truly real, whether this connection is real, whether you are even worthy of the kind of love you have been praying for. All of it ends here. Not because of luck, not because of coincidence, not because the universe suddenly decided to favor you. It ends because God has already been moving behind the scenes long before you realized it. Think back to that moment this week when you almost settled. The moment when you almost convinced yourself that the kind of love you desired was too much to ask for, too rare, too sacred, too beautiful for someone like you. You almost accepted less because waiting became exhausting. You almost lowered your standards because loneliness became heavy. You almost allowed fear to convince you that the promise God placed in your heart was unrealistic. But what you didn't know was that heaven was watching that exact moment carefully. The second you stepped away from the counterfeit, you activated the authentic. The second you refused to settle for less than what your spirit knew was real, heaven responded. You did not destroy your love story. You protected it. And hear this clearly, chosen one. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. Chance did not bring you here. Random timing did not bring you here. God brought you here. This moment was arranged before you were even born, before your name was spoken over your life, before your face was formed in your mother's womb. You were standing at the edge of something powerful, something prophets spoke about, something generations prayed for. Stay with me until the very end, because what I am about to reveal will expose the exact lie the enemy planted between you and this person to delay what heaven already approved. And before this message finishes, you are going to receive a declaration powerful enough to shut the enemy out of your love life completely. Do not leave now. Your future self, the version of you standing beside the person God specifically designed for you, is begging you to stay and hear this message fully. I know what the last several days have felt like for you. The atmosphere around your life has felt unusually heavy. Not just uncertain, heavy. Like something invisible has been pressing down on every thought connected to this person. Every thought connected to your future. Every thought connected to whether you are too late. Maybe you've been lying awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, while replaying conversations in your mind over and over again. Wondering whether you said too much. Wondering whether you didn't say enough. Wondering whether one small mistake changed everything. Or maybe you've been moving through your daily routine, pretending everything is fine while secretly carrying an ache in your chest that nobody around you fully understands. Maybe people around you think you're okay, but deep down you feel emotionally exhausted. Or maybe you looked at this person, or even simply thought about them,
and felt something so deep and unfamiliar that it frightened you because you have never experienced anything like it before. Something about this connection feels different. Not ordinary, not casual, not temporary. And because of that, it scares you. You feel suspended between two versions of yourself. The old version of you that is slowly dying, and the new version of you that heaven is preparing to reveal. And in that vulnerable place, the enemy has been whispering one specific lie repeatedly into your mind. He has been telling you that this delay is your fault, that this connection feels complicated because of something you did. He keeps replaying moments from your past. The moments when fear made you pull away. The moments when insecurity spoke louder than faith. The moments when you protected yourself emotionally because you were afraid of getting hurt again. Now the accuser wants you to believe those moments permanently disqualified you from receiving the love God intended for you. But listen carefully to what heaven is saying instead. God never wastes pain. Not one tear. Not one disappointment. Not one delay. Not one heartbreak. Everything is being used for a greater purpose. What you thought was rejection was often protection. What you thought was punishment was preparation. What you thought was delay was divine alignment happening behind the scenes. You think you are watching things fall apart, but heaven says construction is happening underneath the surface. You are not in a season of destruction. You are in a season of preparation. The heaviness you feel is not always proof that something is ending. Sometimes heaviness is simply the pressure that comes before breakthrough. The final moments before transformation often feel the heaviest. You think the distance between you and this person means everything is collapsing. But the distance is not destruction. The distance is design. Powerful relationships are never created casually. God does not bring together purpose-driven people without first refining them individually. Real kingdom unions are forged through pressure, through growth, through hidden seasons, through spiritual maturity. And the fact that you are still standing after everything you've been through says something important about you. The fact that you still believe, still hope, still feel this pull towards something greater. Even after heartbreak, even after disappointment, even after betrayal. That is not weakness. That is evidence that heaven placed purpose inside you. Understand this clearly. The enemy does not waste intense warfare on ordinary things. He attacks what threatens his kingdom. And a relationship between two people carrying divine purpose threatens everything darkness tries to build. Because some relationships don't just change two lives. Some relationships change generations. The enemy understands something about your future that you are still learning to understand about yourself. That is why your love life has felt so spiritually attacked. The battle was never just about romance. The battle has always been about destiny. Once you realize that every failed relationship begins to look different. Every heartbreak, every false start, every almost relationship, every painful ending. It starts looking less like failure and more like targeted interference. Think about David before he became king. Before the crown came, betrayal arrived first. Before the throne came isolation first. Before victory came wilderness first. David wasn't only fighting Goliath. He was fighting rejection, jealousy, misunderstanding, loneliness. And through all of it, God was shaping him, preparing him, deepening him. What if the same thing has been happening in your love story? What if the relationships that failed were not proof that you are broken? What if they were proof that your future required a deeper level of preparation? Some people enter ordinary relationships, but purpose-driven people enter relationships connected to destiny, and destiny requires preparation. The wounds you carry were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to refine your discernment. But here is where this message goes even deeper. Because healing alone is not enough. Most people only focus on healing their pain. Very few people discover the wisdom hidden inside it. There is a difference between healing from a wound and understanding what the wound was trying to teach you. One stops the bleeding. The other gives you wisdom powerful enough to protect your future. The enemy is comfortable with people who are temporarily healed but still spiritually blind. Because if you never understand why certain patterns kept repeating in your life, you will continue walking back into them. But God wants you to gain revelation from every painful season you survived. Nothing was meaningless. Nothing was random. Every heartbreak taught you something. Every disappointment exposed something. Every delay revealed something hidden inside you. The person truly meant for you is not simply someone who loves you emotionally. There's someone who recognizes your spirit. Someone who survived battles similar enough to yours that they understand the real version of you. Not your mask, not your performance, not the polished version you show the world. The real version. The version formed in hidden pain. And this is why the enemy fears this union so deeply. Not because two perfect people are coming together, but because two people survived what should have destroyed them and still chose purpose anyway. That type of union carries generational power. It changes families, communities, future children, future assignments. And now, chosen one, understand this. The waiting season you are in right now is not punishment. The silence is not punishment. The pruning is not punishment. God is not delaying you because He forgot about you. He is preparing you with precision. God is not slow. He is intentional. And when heaven is building something with eternal impact, it refuses to rush the process. The reason many chosen people keep entering wrong relationships is not because they are weak. It's because they underestimate the weight of what they carry spiritually. When you do not fully understand your assignment, you accept relationships that were never designed to support your destiny. You allow emotionally attractive connections into places that require spiritual alignment. And eventually those relationships create friction because emotional chemistry alone cannot sustain divine purpose. This is why discernment matters more than desire. Desire responds to loneliness. Desire responds to attraction. Desire responds to familiarity. But discernment asks a deeper question. Was this connection sent by God or created by my wounds? And here is the difficult truth most people avoid hearing. Some of the relationships you cried over were never heaven's best for you. They were counterfeits, imitations.
The counterfeit often arrives before the real thing, because the enemy hopes you will settle permanently for something almost right. And the dangerous thing about counterfeits is that they often look close enough to the promise to fool you temporarily. But the counterfeit could only fool the version of you that had not fully discovered your worth yet. That is why the wilderness season became necessary. The loneliness, the heartbreak, the waiting, the silence. It was all teaching you who you really are. Just like Moses needed the desert before the burning bush, you needed your wilderness before your awakening. God had to remove false identities from your life. The false version of love, the false version of yourself, the false beliefs you carried about your worth. Because if you entered your future carrying unfinished wounds, those wounds would eventually sabotage the very blessing heaven prepared for you. And now you are approaching the breakthrough most people completely overlook. The love God truly designed for you will not feel chaotic. It will not constantly leave you anxious. It will not force you to beg for consistency. It will not require you to abandon yourself just to keep the relationship alive. True alignment feels peaceful. It feels steady. It feels safe. It feels like your spirit can finally rest. It feels like exhaling after holding your breath for years. Most people mistake anxiety for passion because chaos became familiar to them. But real alignment does not destabilize you. It grounds you. The person truly meant for you will not constantly make you question your worth. They will remind you of it. They will call you higher without making you feel smaller. And here is the deepest truth hidden underneath everything you have experienced. The greatest blockage was never only spiritual warfare. The greatest blockage was the belief hidden inside you that love must hurt in order to be real. You became so familiar with painful love, conditional love, inconsistent love, exhausting love, that peaceful love now feels unfamiliar to your nervous system. Part of you became addicted to emotional survival mode. So when healthy love approaches your life, something inside you becomes uncomfortable. And that discomfort disguises itself as caution. It whispers, "This feels too good. Something must be wrong. Don't trust it." You've been hurt before. But today, that agreement breaks forever. You are no longer settling for love that costs you your peace. You are no longer accepting confusion as romance. You are no longer shrinking yourself just to remain chosen by people who were never aligned with your purpose. You are worthy of peaceful love, worthy of consistency, worthy of honesty, worthy of emotional safety, worthy of the kind of connection that feels both powerful and peaceful at the same time. So place your hand over your heart right now and declare this over your life. I release every agreement with painful love. I release every wound that convinced me I was unworthy. I let go of every counterfeit connection that distracted me from what heaven truly prepared for me. I cancel every attachment rooted in fear, insecurity, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. I declare that I am fully ready to receive the love God specifically designed for me. Not the imitation, not the substitute, not temporary comfort, but the real thing. I declare that my future relationship will walk in alignment, peace, strength, purpose, and spiritual unity. I will no longer settle for relationships that cost me my identity. What God has prepared for me will not be stolen, delayed, or destroyed. I am chosen. I am worthy. And the greatest chapter of my life is only beginning.
chosen one. Your breakthrough is not someday, in the future.